Today's Leading Women, episode 655, with the wonderful CARY Carbonaro.
Women all over the world, get ready for inspiring and empowering interviews from women at the top of their field who are kicking butt in their business and who are prepared to share shocking revelations from being in the limelight. You are now listening to Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.
Podcast your passion. Yes, did you know you can podcast your passion, make a difference, and make money talking about what you love talking about? That's how I get to do what I'm doing, talking to wonderful women every day here at Today's Leading Women. Want to learn how I do it? Go to podcastyourpassion.com. That's www.podcastyourpassion.com. Yes, women of the world, let's get started. I am delighted to introduce you our amazing guest for today, CARY Carbonaro, aka the Money Queen. CARY Carbonaro is a certified financial planner with an MBA in finance and has over 25 years of experience in financial services. In 2014, she was named an ambassador for the CFP Board, one of only 50 in the United States. CARY's latest book, The Money Queen's Guide for Women Who Want to Build Wealth and Banish Fear, is an Amazon #1 bestseller in several countries. Because of her credentials, CARY is frequently sought out for her expertise and has been quoted in a variety of well-known publications, including The Wall Street Journal, Newsday, New York Post, USA Today, TheStreet.com, Bloomberg, Huffington Post, Bankrate, Time Magazine, Money Magazine, More Magazine, Kiplinger's, U.S. News and World Report, and Investors Business Daily. She has also served as the Orlando Sentinel's Money Matters Hotline expert. CARY has also been a guest on Fox and Friends, The Today Show, CNN, CNBC, CBS, Fox News, ABC, NPR, WPIX New York, Fox 5 New York, and is a frequent guest on PBS Nightly Business. For a full of CARY's media appearances and to learn more about her, visit www.moneyqueenguide.com. Again, that's moneyqueenguide.com. Women of the world, Miss CARY Carbonaro. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. Sorry that bio was so long.
I love it. Love what you've accomplished. Such an inspiration to all of us here at Today's Leading Women. Now, CARY, I really love what you're doing with your business, and I love the book that you just wrote, The Money Queen's Guide. Really is such a resource for all of us. I highly encourage your listeners to pick up that book, The Money Queen's Guide. Love what you're doing, love what you are doing for not just for our listeners, but to all of the people that are listening right now. Really, you're such an inspiration to all of us. You are a success in your own right. You put in the effort, the sweat equity, the knowledge, and experience to build a special business you call your own. As a result of that, our listeners really want to get to know you, and I want to provide that conduit, that bridge between you and our listeners. So here are some cool questions that we can talk about. Feel free to comment anytime about them, but these are just general questions I have in mind. So let's start with your business. There might be people out there who want to start one and have no clue how to go about it. Can you tell us more about your business and the idea behind that niche?
Sure. So my business is a personal financial planning business. So I am a certified financial planner, and I am what's called fee only, which means I advise my clients and I get paid either hourly or an advice fee or a retainer fee or assets under management fee. So I don't sell products, so I'm not a broker, and it's a little bit different part of the business. Eventually, it's where the whole business is going, but we're not there yet. We're, probably only 10% of people who call themselves financial planners, maybe even less. But when I first started doing it this way, there was probably 2% of the population doing it, and now we're up to about 10%. So we've made a big change over the past, 15 years but we're still not, 90% of the people that do it do it the old-fashioned way, which is the way that I was explaining with the selling products. And so, which may or may not be in the best interest of the client. So I like to practice my way, which is the fiduciary way. And it's also a little bit more difficult to do it my way. But it didn't matter. That's the way I wanted to do it. And so that's why I started to take on clients and build one client at a time.
Love what you're sharing with us. Love the story. Love how you got started. Love how you really niche down and really focus on working with clients. Because there's so much to be gained by working directly with clients, especially one-on-one. You really learn to know their challenges, their fears, their desires, their hopes, and you are able to tailor what you can help them with. Absolutely, that's a great lesson for our listeners. But what continues to inspire you doing this business?
It's funny. I think that I am constantly actually inspired, but it's more of that I want to be the best at what I do. I want the profession to be raised, which is why I'm a board certified ambassador for the CFP profession. I would like everybody who's practicing financial planning to become board certified so that people can get good advice. And I'm also inspired because I want to help people learn financial literacy. So those are the things that inspire me today to get out and share my knowledge.
Financial literacy.
Yes.
That is one thing that, I didn't learn, growing up, I didn't learn anything about money. I'm really good at spending, but the saving part, that's, I have to learn it the hard way. So I have to, when I left my country, the Philippines, and work here in the US and started living here, I was alone. I have to learn how to budget. I have an apartment to pay and I have bills to pay. So I have to learn how to be responsible. So I started reading books on money, and wow, such a huge mindset shift, because I didn't learn about money at all. It was like a taboo in the family. It was never discussed, and I never knew that there's a whole lot of things involved with money, and the mindset part of it, that was huge for me, because I thought that money just comes.
It's interesting because I think your upbringing has a lot to do with it. And now I came from a money household where we talked about it. Not only did we talk about it, my father was a banker, and it was part of me and my dad's relationship, which was so strong, was built on the fact that we both loved and I don't mean money, but we loved learning about money, doing all the right things about money, making money grow, saving money. So it was all about how we could do that together, and it was like our little father-daughter thing. So for us, it was our bonding. It was our bond.
Wow, that is such an inspiration to hear that, because that was like totally opposite of what I've experienced. But the good thing with that one is that I learned that there's abundance. I never thought that there was scarcity, that you have to work hard for it. That you have to, there's somebody working hard for it. So absolutely love that that you shared that one, because then we can see the both sides, and I'm sure a lot of us resonate with both of these experiences. So great. Now let's talk about the qualities that help you become a successful entrepreneur. Share our listeners what are some of your top 3 personal qualities that help you become a successful entrepreneur that our listeners can learn from.
I would say my top 3, and it's funny because this is a hard one because there's more than 3, but the top 3, for me, the number 1 is passion. You have to love what you're doing. Otherwise, you're never going to be successful. So that's number 1. Totally passion. Second thing is energy. I think I happen to have an incredible supply of energy that is kind of off the charts. And so I put that into my business and into the things that I love. So energy is very important. And then for me, I would say my third trait would be high standards, because I know what I expect So that's the only thing that's the only way I know how I want to be treated. I know how I want to have my interactions, and that's what I would give to my clients.
All right, so that's passion, energy, high standard, great qualities or personal traits here that CARY just shared with us. And the good news is that we can all cultivate and adopt them into our lives and into our business as well. Now, let's talk about what happened when you started your journey as an entrepreneur. As entrepreneurs, we face daily challenges that define our being, and to get to those challenges it takes a very special person, and our audience wants to know that special person in you. So what have been your biggest challenges building your business, and how have you addressed or overcame those barriers to success that a lot of women entrepreneurs face today?
Yes. Well, some of these you're not going to like the questions and the answers, but I'm going to give them to you anyway. So the first one for me, my biggest challenge is impatience. I literally have no patience, and it takes time to build a business. So that is the hardest thing I think I ever had to deal with in my life, is to not be successful overnight. And that, I think, is the hardest thing and every time I tell people how long it took me to become successful, because they only see me now and they think, it was all so easy. And I said, if you only knew how hard it was for me, the first at least 5 years, where I wanted to quit every single day, and overcoming that. So the impatience part and getting through that is really where you test yourself. Not having enough hours in the day, that comes back to, because there's only 24. And when you're self-employed entrepreneur, you may have to give up every weekend in the beginning. Nobody likes to hear that either. I'm talking, working 12-hour days, 7 days a week with no weekends and no breaks and no holidays and no nice vacations. So that's a really hard one, but it's a part of the reality. And then for me, another challenge is just within my business itself, is the compliance aspect of my business, which I struggle with because I'm not very detail oriented and I hate compliance. So I just pay somebody to do that for me. But that's just a personal challenge within my business.
Wow, overcoming impatience, that is one thing that I'm sure a lot of us resonate with, having you shared your experience. Because, yeah, I agree with you. A lot of us, we only see the successes. We don't see those years of struggle getting to the success that you have today. We don't see all of the backstage. More often we think that it's an overnight success, where in fact, it's years of building and trying and failing and all those challenges. And I agree with you. I'm one of those that bought into the idea that, wow, you will build this business, have this online business, and you will be successful overnight. No, it doesn't. It really takes time, and I really have to cultivate that sense of patience and knowing that, wow, as in any business, it really takes time. So really important to understand, especially for our listeners out there. But don't be scared because it takes time for business to be successful. Really enjoy the journey. Yeah, the journey alone itself, it's so much fun, and it's so different, because I came from a traditional background as a nurse. So doing this is completely different, but I enjoy the journey. The support, the network, the people that I get to meet, it really brings that joy and that fulfillment in building a business. So for our listeners out there who are just starting out, don't get scared, just get started.
Yes.
All right, let's talk about work-life balance, because this is an area that a lot of us challenge with. And the problem with entrepreneurs is really how to click on and click off and create that work-life balance, particularly if you have a family juggling many roles. So in your life as an entrepreneur, how do you maintain this work-life balance? And what are some of the ways that you accomplish this in the areas of your health, your family, your relationships, and your business?
Good. Well, those are all great things. I happen to be finally at this point good at that. it took me so many years to get to this place where I could do a work-life balance, but I'm actually there right now. And I'm actually really good at it because what I do is I'm also a yoga instructor in my spare time, which obviously I don't have a lot of. But yoga is one of the things that keeps me grounded, and I force myself to teach so I know that I'm going to be doing it. So I put it on my calendar. I put my downtime on my calendar because that works for me. I also do like a bunch of subscriptions to like monthly massages, monthly facials, monthly whatever, because guess what? I know I'm going because it's once a month. So it forces me to go and do it because if I didn't have the subscription, I wouldn't go. And then my husband and I, who by the way is incredibly supportive, we actually have Money Queen free zones where for a night or for a day or for 2 days, we say no Money Queen talk. And that's the way we have to turn it off because sometimes I could talk about it 24/7. So I will drive everybody crazy. So that's what we do. And that works for us.
Oh, I love that. I love that having that monthly money free zone or business free zone day or time. That's something that, wow, I like that idea. So that's a good thing when we're sharing our tips because we learn from something that we can incorporate. So if these tips that Carrie just shared with us resonate with you, I highly encourage you to try them. I'm definitely going to try this free zone time. Maybe call it something else that really excites you or that really applies to you. That is something that I'm definitely going to try. And having those, I love what you said about forcing yourself to teach yoga because that that helps you to keep doing it. And I agree with you. I mean, I do Bikram yoga too on a weekly basis, and I came to get to a point that I also help facilitate, and that really helps me being there. I had to be there. I love what you said about subscribing to, for example, monthly massage because there's gonna be on a regular basis and it's gonna be on your calendar and you have to honor those. You have to do them deliberately because wow, it's so hard. I mean, being a nurse myself, I've seen so many people suffer as a result of not putting their health as a priority. So it's really important, regardless, to prioritize that, put something on your calendar and do something that really feeds your body, your mind, your health is so important. Can't stress that enough. All right, let's talk about success and what success means to you. Your business appears to be financially doing quite well, and with that success flows into other areas in the entrepreneur's life. Now, I would like to also say that success is a mindset. I can have $10 in my pocket, but my mind feels like a millionaire. I feel great about myself and I'm moving forward. The opposite way will be a multi-billionaire and be totally miserable. So am I successful financially? Yes. Individually, probably not. So in your journey as an entrepreneur, what does success mean to you and what are some of the benchmarks that you use to measure your success?
Great. So I would say, obviously the easy one, which everybody uses, is the amount of money that you're making or keeping or taking home. That's just, the easy one, which of course for me, that's always a moving target because I like to raise it once I get to wherever I want to be. Another one that I use as a benchmark is the number of vacations I'm taking a year. And that one for me is important because we always like to beat the year before and add an extra vacation in there. So to me, that's really a good, nice work-life balance and also measurement of success. And then the last thing is how happy I am, and that's just a regular everyday thing. And the happier, the better, because that means I'm fulfilled. I'm doing what I want to do. I'm not frustrated. And I'm not impatient, which is one of my not good virtues.
Yep, I love it. I mean, I think we all strive to achieve that happiness in all levels of our lives. I mean, I think that's what drives us doing this business, and especially, that freedom of lifestyle. I mean, I know, in the beginning when you're starting a business, you feel like, wow, you are building this business to achieve that lifestyle. But in the beginning, you're gonna be working 70, 80 hours. I mean, sometimes almost every day of your waking hours. And it is gonna be, there's a sacrifice to be made in terms of your time and energy and resources and everything of you. But in exchange of that, the benefits of having a business, that flexibility that allows you to build your business wherever you are, or that it allows you to take time off when you need it or when your family needs it. Such a great benefit. So I won't trade it to anything else.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk now about the highlights of our show, because I know you've given us a lot of tips already, but I'd love for us to talk about one of the highlights of our show, and that's your advice for other entrepreneurs and those aspiring to be, especially to those who want to follow your footsteps. You obviously got some lessons learned under your belt of experience, so take it back to the past. Say you're gonna start all over again as an entrepreneur, and you are in a class with other entrepreneurs who are hungry and thirsty for success, or even for making that first buck. What types of special suggestions or advice and lessons that you learned would you give your fellow entrepreneurs, knowing where you came from and where you headed at? And if you can boil them down to your top 3 tips or advice, what would those 3 be?
Well, the first one would be to keep your day job until you are at the point where you are ready to switch over. And I actually did not do that. And that was, I had heard that before, when you listen to advice for entrepreneurs to keep your day job and transition into your entrepreneur role or whatever business you want to start. And I didn't do that. And that's one of my regrets, that I quit my old job and I started cold turkey, and it was much more difficult to do it that way. So that's my number one piece of advice. Second is also difficult. Have a lot of cash to sustain you, because you may not be making any money even though you're working 7 days a week. So I did follow that rule, and that got me through all the lean years because I had stockpiled cash. So that was something that was very important to me. The third thing I think is to make sure that you're suited to be an entrepreneur. Like do one of those online questionnaire or self-assessment tests, and make sure that you're okay with it, because as much as I think that everybody should have their own business, some people are actually better suited to being a W-2 employee. And I would hate for them to go through all of that and then say, forget it, I just want to go back and get a job. So just make sure that it's exactly what you are, what you're getting in, what you're buying in for, and that you have the personality and you can do it and want to do it.
Wow, golden nuggets in those tips that you shared with us. So let me just summarize them again for our listeners. The first one is to keep your day job until you're ready to switch over. I love that. Luckily for me, I learned that one way before I jump into entrepreneurship. I didn't quit my job. For me, the good thing is that my schedule is very flexible. I mean, I can work. I was doing 3 days in a row so that I can have 4 days off to build my business. And I didn't switch over until I didn't quit my job until I was making enough money, more than enough money that I can quit my job. So really, that was a great lesson for me. And I'm glad I did it that way, because there were some days that I just wanted to quit, and I said, wow, that will give me even more stress and pressure to make money with my business. That was one of the benefits. Having a lot of cash to sustain you, really important. For our listeners out there who are just starting out, there are going to be expenses incurred in building a business, so really important to have that financial cushion. And of course, the third one is to making sure that you are suited to be an entrepreneur. That is so true, what you said, Carrie, about it. Entrepreneurship is not for everyone. Otherwise, we will all be entrepreneurs. And so love that you mentioned that one, because it's not often mentioned about that. Really making sure that you are suited for it. And yeah, like what Carrie shared with us, there are a lot of online tools that you can take to assess yourself, your strength, and of course, when you feel like or be around other entrepreneurs and see if this is what it is that you really want to do. You really have to have that passion for what it is that you're doing, and you're gonna be there. As much as there are a lot of benefits of being an entrepreneur, there are also the cons of being an entrepreneur. There's nobody gonna be there telling you what to do, especially if you are used to the traditional job. Really different. It's the mindset shift alone that was huge for me. So really important to find out and really make sure that you really want to do this. What is your why are you doing this, and follow that. Great tips here that CARY just shared with us. Let's take action on them today, and I'll make sure to have them on our show notes. Last but not the least, CARY, share our listeners that one woman out there that you admire the most and why.
I would say my number one is Madonna. And the reason that I've loved her for all these years is because she has always been bold. She's always been true to herself. She's always reinvented herself. And she has been touring and singing for over 30 years. And she is, to me, the most amazing idea of what a powerful woman is.
Yep, Madonna.
And actually, which is funny because I started my book with Are You a Material Girl, which is my homage to Madonna.
Wow, I love that. I mean, yeah, she's such an inspiration. So to Madonna, for not just being an inspiration to you, but to all of us here at Today's Leading Women, we salute you. Lastly, CARY, share our listeners what's one big benefit that they can get with your product or your service, where they can get it, and what's the best way that our listeners can connect with you, and we'll end from there.
Sure. So, well, if you want to go to my website, it's moneyqueenguide.com with no S. It's just moneyqueenguide.com. And if you sign in on the bottom, there's if you put in your email address and add to our come on our mailing list, we will send you the top 10 things that women need to know about money and the first 2 chapters of my book. Also, to find me, I'm very easy to find. I am at CARY Carbonaro at Twitter, at Money Queen Guide at Twitter, at CARY Carbonaro at Facebook. We have Money Queen Guide on Facebook. And then you can find me on LinkedIn at CARY Carbonaro, Money Queen CFP.
All right, so that's www.moneyqueenguide.com. Highly encourage your listeners to go there now. Pick up her book as well, The Money Queen's Guide. And this is available on Amazon. So for our listeners, our international audiences, listeners, you can order this via Amazon. And you can also go to her website at www.moneyqueenguide.com. Make sure to sign up for the free bonuses and the special updates, plus the tools and the resources and to the first 2 chapters of her book by going to www.moneyqueenguide.com, signing up. Just enter your email address on the form and you will get those goodies. I'll definitely gonna do that myself, so go there now, www.moneyqueenguide.com. This is something that we can all learn from, I'm sure, especially the money thing. If you're like me who didn't grow up learning about money, I'm constantly continuing to learn more about money and how I can be better at it. This is one of the resources that we should be getting and keeping it as a resource for us. So again, that link is www.moneyqueenguide.com. The book is The Money Queen's Guide by CARY Carbonaro. You can also check it out on Amazon.com for our international audiences. CARY, thank you so much for being so generous in sharing your time, your inspiring story, your expertise, for being a role model to many, and for bringing such a positive energy with our listeners today. Women of the world, including me, appreciate you and wish you more success in business and in your life.
Thank you so much.
Thinking of starting a podcast? seriously consider starting a podcast of your own, remembering that it will allow you to grow in ways you never imagined. It will grow your email list, your audience, your influence, and your bank account. Go to podcastprofitsystem.com to get started. That's www.podcastprofitsystem.com.
Feeling inspired and empowered to make it happen? Then take the next step and go get your free guide to the top 10 resources that today's leading women use to stay at the top of their game, plus Marie's favorite today. Visit todaysleadingwomen.com/guide for your free download, and we'll see you on the next episode of Today's Leading Women with Marie Grace Berg.